New today, a declaration from President Trump that he has no plans to fire anyone after his national security advisor mistakenly added a journalist to a group chat on an unapproved app, and his Secretary of Defense shared advanced details of an attack plan against Houthi rebels without verifying the members of the group chat. So here's what Attorney General Pam Bondi said about the use of Signal for the chat.
Is Signal not going to be used, or is it going to be used going forward? Are you aware of it?
I think Signal is a very safe way to communicate. I don't think foreign adversaries are able to hack Signal, as far as I know.
And joining me now, Dave Ehrenberg, former state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida. Good to see you, my friend. So you know AG Bondi fairly well. Is this the same independent Pam Bondi you expected as U.S. Attorney General, or is she now just following Trump's orders?
Well, it's good to be back with you, Alex. Well, I expected that she'd be loyal to Donald Trump because she is loyal to Donald Trump. She's a true believer, and I expected her to do things that I would disagree with. The one surprise has been some of the dialogue that has come out, which has echoed the White House, which is that, what about Hillary's emails? And Joe Biden had classified documents. So, that was surprising. But as far as the policies, it's pretty much what I expected. I've always thought that Attorney General Bondi would draw that bright line, though, when it came to prosecuting Trump's enemies, that unlike Matt Gaetz and others who Donald Trump would appoint as Attorney General, that Pam Bondi, being a 20-year prosecutor, would not cross a line and to prosecute Trump's enemies for political purposes. So far, it hasn't been that surprising when it comes to the actions. Some of the dialogue, I admit, has been surprising to me, though.
So the administration, Dave, and Pam Bondi's DOJ is also engaged in a crackdown over students over varying levels of activism on campus. And the courts are indicating this approach may be problematic. Secretary of State Rubio says 300 student visas have been revoked. And then in that case of the one Turkish student who was snatched by ICE agents off the streets of Massachusetts, as we're seeing right here, it is unclear whether she even knew her visa had been revoked. What rights do students have in America these days?
Well, students have rights if they're American citizens. If they are not citizens, the law does give the Secretary of State very broad power to deport people who are seen as threats to national security. Also, they're not entitled to the same types of due process as American citizens are if they're here on a temporary status. And so for a lot of people who are upset that this is going on, well, they need to also look at the law. Maybe that should be a law that's revisited. But the fact is that the law is there, and it gives a Secretary of State very broad powers to do something like this as long as a judge approves it. Now, it's going before a judge. There will be due process here. So this is different than the actual hostages who are being kept in Gaza who don't have due process. And it is interesting to me, you have protesters out there who are out there protesting the students who are being held, seeing a judge, as opposed to not saying a word about the actual American hostage who's being held in Gaza without any due process at all.
Yeah, let me ask you, though, isn't it disturbing to see, particularly this Turkish student, being taken off the streets this way? I mean, she gets surrounded. There were 6 officers there, 1 woman, 5 men. She's screaming. She doesn't know what's going on. And then is it also due process to take her 1,500 miles away?
Well, as far as the process of detaining her, I didn't love the use of the masks. I think that is something that is sort of North Korean in a way. But as far as the law, it is broad. You can take her to a facility far away. It's just the interpretation of the law. Now, this is what happens, though, when you have an administration who's going to be extra aggressive. They're going to take a law that's on the books and they're going to turn it up to 11. And it's up to the judges to push back. And so far, we're seeing that. The judges have blocked all of the deportations here. And it's going to be up to the administration to come up with the goods. They're going to have to show that she did more than just express support for the Palestinians. They're going to have to show that she actually supported Hamas, a terrorist organization. So the devil is going to be in the detail.
Yeah, but Dave, for some people, it's already too late. Those guys in El Salvador, those that aren't necessarily part of the gang, Tren de Aragua, I mean, there are people who say, family members who say they are not part of this gang. They may have just had, a tattoo that resembled something that would have been part of the gang. It's too late for them. What happens to them?
Yeah, the judges ruling is to freeze all of the future deportations, but the ones already in El Salvador are now apparently beyond Judge Boasberg's jurisdiction. So this is where there's going to have to be this matter decided in the court of public opinion, where enough political pressure that they can do a review, because some of these individuals had innocent tattoos, were not part of the gang, and they're there. And I was disturbed by the image of Kristi Noem in front of all of those prisoners as she's wearing her Rolex. I really think that's un-American to just parade around prisoners when you're not sure they're all gang members. And even if they are, we're not North Korea. We don't do things like this. And so although the underlying policy in getting rid of gang members, I think, is right, it's the implementation of it that has issues.
Yeah, we don't do these kinds of things. And yet, Dave, we just did. So anyway, I'll have you back again, no doubt. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you.